Watching the Premier Wrestling Alliance. This is Carrington Carlucci. I'll be joined by my broadcast colleague here. We've got a great episode for you here on YouTube. Feature a little bit of everything from the PWA, which leads up to a huge main event for the PWA Tag Team Championship. Those Crazy Hillbillies challenging Vicious and Delicious, but right now we're going to start things with Bryan Blade taking on Lafferty. And this one goes back for quite a long time. These two gentlemen, no strangers to one another, have been having a bit of a personal disagreement off and on since this past July. So a lot of history between the Southern Knight and Lafferty. And speaking of the Southern Knight, he is making his way out to the ringside area. The crowd very hot, it looks like, for Bryan Blade here this evening. And the Southern Knight looks like he is ready, very prepared for this matchup. As well he should be, with the Irishman known as Lafferty. A very dangerous competitor. And a nice ovation here so far for Bryan Blade. Good to see that. Veteran competitor, has been doing this for 20 plus years, ladies and gentlemen.
And his opponent from Belfast, Northern Ireland, at a weight of 18 stone, he is known as the Irish Hitman, Lafferty.
And here comes the Irish Hitman, Lafferty, the opposition for Bryan Blade in this one. And I've been looking forward to this matchup for quite a long time. These two with a lot of unsettled business with one another. And Lafferty looks focused. Looks very ready to go, as always, as he makes his way into the area. Almost a look of disdain and disgust for everyone that he is being surrounded by, his opponent and these fans here at ringside here in Lancaster.
Eric Carlucci, let me tell you, I am ready for this one. I hope you are as ready as myself and all these great fans. This is going to be an out-and-out slugfest, the veritable Pier Sixer, if I may coin a phrase. I'm sure that you remember the last time these two men appeared on the program, ended things quite at odds with one another. They're going to try to settle it in the ring, but it appears...
It looks like we're getting some company, Aaron.
Yeah, that could be none other than the inimitable Nick Stevens with something to say.
Let's hear from the GM.
If we must.
Bryan Blade, remember, nobody likes to watch them has been. If you win tonight, good luck. But if you don't, you're out of here.
Well, let's reiterate for the fans who maybe did not hear that quite clearly. Nick Stevens has said that this is do or die for Bryan Blade. If he doesn't get his hand raised, he's apparently done in the PWA. That's quite the ultimatum.
Absolutely, and you got to wonder right out of the chute here if that's going to affect Bryan Blade mentally, because he's just finding it out as we are finding it out, Aaron Hurt.
Well, he had definitely said that he would go to whatever lengths necessary, up to and including risking his career, to get Lafferty in the ring, but sometimes, you have to be careful what you wish for. I'm just somewhat appalled by the gleeful expression on the face of Nick Stevens as he made his proclamation, and using Lafferty as his proxy in this case is also somewhat disturbing.
And equally as disgusting is a moment ago you saw not only turning your back on Bryan Blade, which is completely insulting to a man like Bryan Blade, but he was, speaking of Lafferty, was motioning like he was using a walker, poking fun at Bryan Blade. Let me tell you something about Bryan Blade. There might be a few miles on the old odometer, but there's still plenty of gas left in his tank.
Well, I say this much, you can't survive more than 20 years in the wrestling business up and down the roads like Blade has without having a certain amount of intestinal fortitude, as they say, and he's just firing away with right hands and elbows right out of the gate here, whips Lafferty across, not giving the Irish Hitman any time to get things started in his direction.
Blade using that mass, moving it around quite effectively, engulfing Lafferty in the corner, and Lafferty taking the unofficial timeout in the world of professional wrestling, hitting the floor.
Nick Stevens did not clarify, but I presume that this stipulation applies to a loss of any kind, not just a pinfall or submission, but if Lafferty were able to do enough damage out here on the outside, for instance, although he rolls back in to break the count because he's not done dishing out the punishment.
And I think he understands, Aaron Hurt.
Man, right to the ring post. Camera got as close as you could get to that without actually being Bryan Blade's forehead.
Absolutely. And I think Lafferty understands, to finish my point real quick, that you aren't going to beat Bryan Blade, a man of this caliber, just by roughing him up a little bit on the outside floor. You're going to take... It's going to take a lot more than that to finish off Bryan Blade.
Rolls him over cover, hooks the far leg, but too close to the ropes. And you have to say that Lafferty is engaging in quite a bit of mind games. He knows how far under the skin of Bryan Blade he got with all this talk about how Bryan Blade's over the hill and at the end of his journey as a pro wrestler. Oh, stomps on the hand. I mean, no pretense of a sportsman-like event here.
It's one thing to out-wrestle a man, but it looks like Lafferty just wants to plain beat up Bryan Blade here in this matchup.
Well, quite frankly, Lafferty has nothing to lose in this situation. Maybe a bit of face if he comes up on the short end of things here. But this is Game 7 for Blade. This is it, man. I mean, this guy's got to put food on his table somehow, and I'm sure the fans realize that as they're watching it. I mean, Blade is somebody, now that on the receiving end of a few short jabs there from the pugilistic powerhouse, but Bryan Blade has been on the wrong side of the fans' affection for quite some time in the PWA, but has come around full circle to the point where even begrudgingly the majority of these fans respect him, whether they approved of the way he got things done in the past. Essentially, let's remind people that a year and a half ago, there was a threesome known as the American Outlaws. It included Tony James, Bryan Blade, and a man named Jim Daly that ran complete roughshod over the PWA. And Tony James is off doing his own thing. Jim Daly is MIA or off on some mercenary mission. Blade has stayed the course and has fought for what he believed in, right, wrong, or indifferent, as an individual for the majority of 2018. And that's definitely done a lot to endear him to the fans.
And I think that European uppercut did a lot to rearrange the jawline of Bryan Blade in that corner. Good Lord, cannonball!
And that's a maneuver that we know that Lafferty can use quite effectively. Let's not forget that Bryan Blade has become quite a practitioner of this as well. But for the second time, an 18 stone just hurdles that rolling shoulder block, that cannonball, if you will. But Blade's still in it, not going anywhere anytime soon, much to the chagrin of both Lafferty and Nick Stevens, I presume.
Yeah, and I'd say he's got to get in there a little bit tighter. He's got to put a little bit more body on body, position himself over the shoulders more if he wants to try to hold Bryan Blade down for a pin cover.
Well, we can hear the frustration coming out of Lafferty as he feels like he should have put Blade away. Yeah, Blade was such an old-timer, then, it doesn't speak to Lafferty's abilities that highly, does it, for Blade to have lasted this long?
Well, as you alluded to earlier, Aaron, Bryan Blade has not lasted 20-plus years in this rough industry without being a hard-nosed competitor.
Oh, my, he just zeroed in on the ribs there. Hauled off with that boot. I don't even know if that's a steel-toed boot or if he got some kind of gimmick in it or what, but man, Blade sucking wind. You can see it on his face.
He may have internal injuries after a kick like that. And now just slapping him in the face. How insulting this man Lafferty is.
Quite frankly, this is appalling, and this is not what the PWA tries to represent.
But back comes Blade.
Lighting in public, if you will, with an elbow right to the top of the crown of Lafferty's head. Hammers away with a series of left and rights to the body. Shoots him off. Oh, Lafferty ducks the clothesline and connects with one of his own, both men down.
Just leveled him. Lafferty, I think he would be very wise to make a cover here, but don't understand that logic.
And as much as I hate to say it, do you think that might have been the last gasp for Blade?
I don't know. It remains to be seen here. We're going to see 1, 2.
Get out! Get the shoulder out!
And he did just at the last moment. Good gracious, that was close.
And I am trying to be objective and not be partisan, but and quite frankly, Bryan Blade is somebody that I was at odds with, as I said, like much of the fans were at a certain point in time. But this is, quite frankly, uncalled for, the way that this situation has come about, the way that, as we said, this ultimatum was delivered to Bryan Blade, and the way it's being executed. I'm afraid that might be the appropriate term.
Yes, I was going to say that would be very appropriate, because this looks almost like an execution we're seeing here from Lafferty. Yet, great camera shot there, just looking at the pain at the face of Bryan Blade.
But still on his feet, still hanging in there against the man whom, in the form of Lafferty, has been to the top of the mountain in PWA, been a champion every time he's gone after a title.
Those body shots. This is just a vicious, vile, physical dissection of the Southern Knight, Aaron Hurd.
I have to wonder if Lafferty's so intent on ending the career of Bryan Blade, if he's not perhaps letting things.
Wow.
Yeah, I was stopped short waiting to see just what Lafferty had in mind there, but quite frankly, I'm surprised Lafferty's not tried to put Blade away more often.
You know, and it might be a thing for Lafferty. Okay, pinning him would essentially end his career here in the PWA.
Yeah, but maybe he wants to go for a knockout. Maybe he wants to add that level of humiliation to it.
That's why I was just going to make that point. He is looking to humiliate this veteran man.
Right now, he's a little wobbly. Looks like...
Look at the drop kick from the big man.
Got all 350 pounds up in the air and off his feet and connected with the drop kick. Lafferty looked like he typically does after 4 or 6 pints of Guinness.
I was just going to make the point, what if neither one of these men answered the referee's count here? Does this mean Bryan Blade has to leave? But I think we're getting both back to a vertical base slowly.
I think Nick Stevens would use any justification to pull the trigger on this little scheme of his. I think it's just for his own amusement that we've seen things go this far. I mean, I suppose if he wanted to, he could simply fired Blade outright, but he gets a perverse thrill out of watching Lafferty do what he's doing.
And I think you're exactly right. And this is getting very perverse. I mean, it's getting to the point where Bryan Blade can't even defend himself. I mean, I hate to see it end this way, but it almost seems like the referee may want to consider stopping this.
Well, you know that Blade wants to go out on his shield, so to speak. Oh, gets Lafferty up for the big belly-to-back suplex. And that might be the thing that turns the tide in his favor. I would say that it's a pick-em at this point, the way that these two men have fought for more than 10 minutes.
And you make a good point, Aaron Hurd. This has not been a wrestling match. This has been a fight. Bryan Blade's been fighting for his life professionally, and Lafferty is fighting for the right to make sure that he is the guy that says, hey, I was the one that put Bryan Blade out of wrestling.
Well, I'm sure Bryan Blade has come to terms with the fact that his career will end sooner or later, but I'm sure he wants it to be on his terms, not at the whim of some bureaucrat or to satisfy the cruelty of some bully. They're slugging it out.
Both men just trading shots back and forth. You got to wonder how much is behind those, as both of these men have to be exhausted at this point.
Yeah, Lafferty staggered right into a boot to the midsection there, caught in a front face lock.
Uh-oh. It might be time. It might be time for this one to end. Bryan Blade, I think, is going to try to hit a big move here.
Try to secure his place in the PWA for another day, but a big spear, a big tackle from Lafferty.
Could this be it? Could we be witnessing an end of an era right here? Oh my God.
Ladies and gentlemen, your winner, the Irish Hitman Lafferty.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, I can't believe what we just witnessed here. Lafferty has defeated the Southern Knight, Bryan Blade. And it wasn't from the lack of effort from Mr. Blade. He certainly put everything he had into this matchup.
No, you could argue that this is the best individual performance from him in months. And knowing what it meant, I'm sure that he feels that he could have dug down even deeper. But it's not to be on this night.
Come on, Lafferty. Oh, for the love of all that's holy, just get him out of the ring.
Be satisfied with your victory. Going back to the locker room, brag to all your buddies at the pub about what you've just done. I hope you and Nick are proud of yourselves.
Well, love or hate, Bryan Blade, this is certainly you got to respect the man for 20 plus years in the professional wrestling business. Certainly has nothing to be ashamed of, but I'm sure that he didn't want it to end like this.
Look at this, Carrington Carlucci. Look at the reaction. Fans are giving him a standing ovation.
And absolutely well-deserved.
Would you have ever thought this scene would play out in the PWA if you knew the history of Bryan Blade like some of us do?
Absolutely not. And here is this, forgive me fans, piece of garbage.
Bryan Blade was a valiant effort, and I commend you for that. But Bryan, you're fired.
What an obsequious little toad. I know that this man is in a position of authority now in the PWA, and, you know, I may have a poor performance review for making comments like that, but quite frankly, this is disgusting.
What's right is right, and what's wrong is wrong. And ladies and gentlemen, what you've just witnessed was just plain wrong.
Nonetheless, we'll carry on with more PWA in a short while, fans. Stick around for more from the Fairfield County Fairgrounds as we continue. Hello, PWA fans. My name is Aaron Hurt, here to tell you all about how you can keep up with PWA online. Just search PWA Ohio on Facebook or on YouTube, or check out PWAOhio.com for all of the latest information about upcoming events, the latest videos and highlights of past events, and interviews with your favorite PWA wrestlers. So make sure that you like and follow all of those pages. That's PWAOhio.com, PWA Ohio on Facebook, and PWA Ohio on YouTube. And follow along with all of us here from Premier Wrestling Alliance, and we hope to see you at the PWA Arena very soon. Bryan Blade, I'm sorry to have to confront you. I'm sure this is a very difficult moment for you, but it appears you're walking out of the PWA Arena for what could be the last time. I'm sure all the fans would want to know, where does the Southern Knight go from here?
I don't know, Aaron. I really don't know.
Man has spent 25 years in the wrestling business. Now looking for a job.
Fans, before we continue, I would just like to ask for one more round of applause for a great wrestler and a great veteran, the man known as the Southern Knight, Bryan Blade.
Welcome back, wrestling fans. If you just are joining us here in the middle of the broadcast, we just saw the end
as things go in the wrestling business, we see one career come
of
to
a
an
fantastic
end,
career for the Southern Knight,
to
Bryan
introduce
Blade.
you to a young man who is about to start his very own career here in the PWA. He is the newest member of our roster, albeit with a name that you're probably already familiar with. So Lancaster, please give me help in welcoming officially to the PWA, Kevin
But as they say, the show must go on, and we have a new addition to the PWA roster, Kevin Cruit, son of Chris Cruit, ready to join the ranks of PWA. And I've heard a lot of great things about this youngster coming out of the training complex. Looking forward to his in-ring debut, whenever that may be. Don't believe that will be here tonight because he's dressed in his street clothes, not in his professional wrestling gear. But let's hear from this youngster. Let's see what he's got to say.
I want to welcome you to the PWA. This is a very special moment, I'm sure, not just for yourself, but for your entire family. What does it feel like to be on the verge of continuing in your father's footsteps and continuing a family legacy in the wrestling business like the Cruit family has?
Aaron, I would like to let you know, I would like to thank all of you guys for allowing me to come out here and talk to you guys. Listen, I have a lot of pressure on my back. My father, Chris Cruit, everyone's gonna put a target on my back and come after me.
That may very well be the case, but since you're getting thrown into the deep end, where do you go first? Are you going after a singles title? Are you looking to find a partner and go after tag team gold? What's the first step in the journey in the PWA for Kevin Cruit? I apologize.
What on earth did this guy want? Apparently, we're going to be graced with the presence of Gary Gandy, and please note the sarcasm. And I wonder if he's going to have anything to share with us. It's a rhetorical question. This guy's always got something to say. I'm not too sure to get into the face of Chris Cruit's son or Kevin Cruit himself would be a good idea.
On this young man's moment.
Everybody, listen up right now. Everybody. You all are out here so happy that another Cruit has graced our presence, but guess what? Just like before, it should be about me. Shouldn't be about you. I understand right now is probably the best and the most important time in your life. You want to be a PWA superstar. I don't care what they promised you. But I can tell you one thing. I don't even have a match tonight, and that ticks me off.
With all due respect, how is that my problem?
It's not your problem. It should be your problem, their problem, and definitely everybody's problem.
So, come on, this is not called for.
Some help out here.
Well, here comes the proud Papa. To chase Gary Gandy, and we know that these two have a long history with one another.
Where you going? You want to pick a fight with a Cruit? Well, then Chris Cruit's standing right here in your face, pal. Let's go.
Well, you heard it from the franchise player. He's ready to go one-on-one with Gary Gandy. Yeah, there's the official bell. We've got a ref. We're going to have a match. Cruit and Gandy, collar and elbow tie-up as we begin this one.
Quite the impromptu contest here of former PWA champions, and no gold on the line, but certainly a lot of pride. Look at these guys, like a hockey fight already. I can't believe the audacity of Gary Gandy, and quite frankly, I didn't think he would ever sink to new depths, but he certainly found them. here on this night by coming out to confront Kevin Cruit. I mean, it wouldn't even let him introduce himself to the fans without trying to steal the spotlight.
Well, you got to give it to the kid. He's got a little bit of moxie. He didn't back up whatsoever. He was ready to fight Gandy right away. But dear old dad said, no, I got this one, son.
Well, quite frankly, I think Gandy knew exactly what he was doing. He was trying to bait Chris Cruit into coming out and taking up for his son, thinking that he would catch him unaware, get a quick victory on him. But obviously, you don't poke the bear. And Cruit is in quite a state. Usually, he's at least coming into a fight with a game plan and a strategy. I don't imagine that's the case in this particular encounter.
Short in tight missile drop kick off the middle rope as Gandy tries to assert himself physically. Looks like he's looking for the Hangman's neck breaker.
Snaps it off. Hooks the leg. Goes to the rear chin lock.
And I notice, Aaron, that he's maintaining after the Hangman's neck breaker, staying right on the neck and the head with the chin lock.
Well, these two men know each other inside and out. They know each other's repertoire like a book, and they know certain weak points about the other, what vulnerabilities they may have, what previous injuries they may be nursing.
And Cruit apparently knows how to escape the chin lock, but runs right into a knee. Gandy wisely filed him in there and did not allow any space or separation whatsoever.
Well, Gandy's been on a complete power trip as of late. Oh, jackknife cover, floats over.
Cruit almost stealing one there. Hard clothesline, knocked down Gandy, tasting some canvas.
Whip across. But Gandy has been adamant about deserving another shot at the PWA heavyweight title held by Randy the Rowdy Hillbilly.
We gonna see maybe a pile driver here?
Oh my! Package pile driver! And just shoves him to the outside to that concrete floor.
I don't think Chris Cruit is finished with Gary Gandy just yet here. I think this might be a trip to the woodshed, so to speak.
Oh! Stops short. Sends Cruit shoulder first into the ring post.
Gandy pulled back the ring apron, not sure what he was looking for. Uh-oh, there he is. He's found a proverbial equalizer. Don't know if the referee's going to allow this or not. He shouldn't. I don't think this was a no disqualification match by any stretch of the imagination.
No. Just a verbal contract that essentially led to this, but taking it far beyond the chair to the knee.
Vicious impact with that steel chair, and that's going to be an automatic disqualification.
Ladies and gentlemen, your winner by disqualification, the franchise player, Chris Cruit.
And Gandy obviously not done, going to brutalize the knee with that chair.
Kevin up on the apron, having to watch this.
Yeah, this has got to be emotionally traumatizing for this young man to see his dad being assaulted like this. The match is over, for crying out loud.
No, this is unsettling for all of the fans in attendance, let alone you're having to watch this happen to your own father. Oh! And getting a little some of Gandy is the young Cruit.
And the youngster proving he can fight a little bit. Dumping a former PWA champion over the top rope with that clothesline.
And perhaps that will portend of things to come for this young man in his tenure as a PWA wrestler. We've got so much more to bring to the fans here on this program. I cannot wait for our main event. We'll get to that here very shortly. Tag team titles on the line and much, much more. Fans, almost too many emotions to try to break down at the moment. Sad to see Bryan Blade given his walking papers thanks to the combined efforts of our general manager, Nick Stevens, and his proxy, in this case, the Irish Hitman, Lafferty. But on the heels of that, we got the debut of Kevin Cruit. And as hard as he tried, Mr. Five-Star Gary Gandy couldn't ruin it by trying to start a fight. He got dealt with by the franchise player Chris Cruit, if I may say so myself, and I think he's going to have to deal with both of them now from here on out in the PWA. But there's much, much more to come, fans. We've got a big tag team title match in our main event. That will be coming up here very shortly, so stick around for that on PWA. PWA fans, Aaron Hurd here with you. If you like what you are seeing on YouTube, then don't miss the opportunity to see the action live and in person. The first Saturday of every month at the PWA Arena, 737 Slocum Avenue in Lancaster. Premier Wrestling Alliance is in action, plus select dates in towns near you. Check out PWAOhio.com for tickets for not just the arena events, but all events. Arena events start at $5. And that's PWAOhio.com for all of your ticket information.
Welcome back, wrestling fans. This is the PWA, and this is your main event. It is for the PWA Tag Team Championship. Those Crazy Hillbillies challenging Vicious and Delicious in a rivalry that is long-standing. Well, I see one hillbilly. I see Juan out here, but where's Anita and John? I mean, it's usually a package deal. You have to excuse my rather feeble attempt at trying to be facetious.
Are you defending or challenging for the titles, excuse me, by yourself tonight, Juan?
Okay. Oh, good Lord. Well, it is Halloween. I guess this is Gorgeous John and Anita. Oh my gracious. Anita sporting the same dress that LA Cordova had to wear after a recent contractual loss back, I believe it was in the summer of 2018. And of course, my colleague will be able to fill you in a little bit more on that. Oh, yes, please do the strut.
Weighing 439 pounds, the duo that wishes to be known as Vicious and Delicious, they are the PWA Tag Team Champions, Gorgeous Morgan Taylor and LA Cordova.
All right, here come the real tag team champions, or at least as we know them. And they do not look happy. LA Cordova leading Gorgeous Morgan Taylor down, his partner and fellow tag team champions, and Cordova's hot under the collar.
I have to admit, Carrington, that it was hard to keep a straight face as John D. and Anita came out there. It is Halloween time. We're talking about a clown suit, dressing up like Morgan Taylor. I wouldn't think you couldn't get me to do that at gunpoint, to be quite honest.
There's not enough money in the world, my friend.
Having a lot of fun, though, at the expense of their opponents here tonight. And it is a very personal rivalry, not just about the tag team titles, not just about the superiority in the PWA, but it's almost, these two teams are almost diametrically opposed.
Yeah, and to go beyond that, they're pretty opposite as well.
Thank you, Merriam-Webster. But in any case, it clearly had an effect on the champions, the way that they came out here.
Yeah, the champions definitely look off their game, all joking aside. And Morgan Taylor having to be restrained by his own partner, as is Big John over there.
Let's not forget that Juan earned this opportunity for his team by earning a big victory over L.A. Cordova in a past episode.
Oh, I could have lived without seeing that.
Apparently, Anita liked something about that, I would wager.
I think I'm going to have to contact my therapist, though. All right. The seriousness of this match, again, all joking aside, the tag team titles are at stake. As you alluded to, Juan did win a huge singles match to get this tag team opportunity. But let's just face it, these two teams don't like each other. So it is far more than the tag team titles at stake. It is pride and getting even at this point.
No, this is a rivalry that has taken up the bulk of 2018 for both teams as far as their opponents in various matches and various combinations. They've pretty much been joined at the hip since we saw the emergence of John D. as part of the Hillbilly Clan.
And John D. floating a little anti-flattery over in the corner to Morgan Taylor. We get another strong collar and elbow tie-up. We'll see if we get a clean break here from Juan.
That speaks for itself, I would say. Oh, deep arm drag.
A little bit of migraine. Migraines. Tongue-tied over here.
Those two. All is forgiven when, quite honestly, I'm on the edge of my seat after what we've already seen in this episode and with this huge main event upon us. I can understand being a little preoccupied with what's playing out before our eyes here. A little do-si-do action. Juan ends up with the knee to the boiler. Oh, Taylor able to duck a couple of shots there. Comes up looking for an O'Connor roll. Got it. A little sloppy, but got it.
And only got two. Juan looking for the rear waist lock now, going over into the corner. Looks like he might have low bridged him with the top rope a little bit. Caught him on the throat area.
Great awareness there from Morgan Taylor to duck under. Duck between the ropes there. Oh! Meeting of the minds, malfunction at the junction for the tag team champions, courtesy of Juan. And double your pleasure, double your fun for the Hillbillies.
I was going to say stereo headaches, but it works the same way. And a little cerebral whiplash action because I've never seen anybody beaten with a phone book.
Oh, can John, I was going to say, can the big man pull off the swinging drop kick? Instead, he just sets the table for Anita.
I don't think the official saw that, and that was good ring positioning by her.
Absolutely. Well, this is what we're seeing from the Hillbillies, I would say. They're playing the game on the terms of Taylor and Cordova, trying to have a little fun, trying to play some mind games, as we said, the psychological aspect, trying to get that in their favor, as well as perhaps bending the rules whenever possible.
Well, we know that Vicious and Delicious are not above bending and out breaking the rules when it's to their advantage. So I can't really blame the Hillbillies.
No, I would say all bets are off with these four men. And somebody's going to have to emerge victorious in this one. This rivalry has been back and forth. These teams have traded the titles, traded victories throughout their rivalry. This could be the night when one team emerges definitively as the superior combo in the PWA. Oh, try to kick to the kidneys or to the lower back there. I think it just
served to anger Big John a little bit.
I was going to say, didn't slow him down at all on his way to dropping that nearly 300-pound frame onto L.A. Cordova.
Cordova's in some trouble here. He's got to find a way to get a tag. That short shot to the throat, those judo-style thrusts. And now he makes a tag to the Gorgeous One.
Using all of the referee's 5 count here to double team the man. And that's what you do when you cut off the ring in a tag team situation. You almost automatically create a 2-on-1 scenario. You have the fresh man right there anytime you need relief, you need a respite. You can tag your partner. One in need of a tag, trying to just get some separation, dribbles the cranium of Morgan Taylor off the mat like a basketball.
The Lucha Billy
charges across. 1, 2, pair of shoulder tackles. Not sure if there was a blind tag.
Yeah,
John was simply just making room.
We're going to see some coast to coast.
Oh my goodness! One Terminator. One side of the ring to the other with the huge drop kick. And let's not forget about those steel-toed boots that he wears.
But he didn't go for the cover. I don't understand that.
No, quite perplexing when you land a maneuver with that kind of impact. But he sent in Big John to pick up where he left off.
And now Gorgeous Morgan Taylor with the signature jabs in the corner, and now just, I thought he was just pulling at the face, and now
he pulled off, I believe that John had a mustache of sorts on his ensemble that was ripped off by Morgan Taylor, but nonetheless.
And speaking of ripping something off.
Oh, big leg drop.
Floats over into the cover, hooks the leg, but Cordova in to save his partner's bacon for the moment and maybe the tag team titles.
Well, that's how you stay the champions. That's what it's all about. That's what these men are fighting for.
Using his own tag team partner's head as a weapon.
I mean, let's not be naive here.
Yeah,
we certainly can't, as we've established quite clearly, we cannot expect fair play from the champions as a rule.
And I gotta say, the theatrics aside, I like the aggression on the part of the Hillbillies tonight.
They've come to fight. They want these titles back. Plus, they want to make sure that these fans know that they're the better men, they're the better wrestlers, that there's no doubt about where everything stands as far as tag teams in the PWA. Oh! Brings him down throat first on that strand of rope.
And immediately goes in for the cover, just like the proverbial shark smelling the blood in the water, right in for the kill.
This is where L.A. Cordova is at his best, when he can take over in the middle of a match. You've seen this a lot from them, where Morgan Taylor starts things off and Cordova is the proverbial cleanup hitter.
Cordova slowing the pace down, grinding his man into the mat with the
one
side
able to
head.
roll over, turn it into a near fall. Knee on the throat. Referee's got to put the count on for that.
Referee, for crying out loud, he's choking the man. He's got his shin across his windpipe.
I refer back to my previous comments about expecting fair play from these two gentlemen.
Absolutely. Not going to happen. Big body slam by Cordova. Right into the cover. Hooks the leg. 1, 2.
Maybe a bit unsure of where to go with one out of that slam. Makes the exchange. Brings in Morgan Taylor once again.
And this is textbook tag team champions right here from Vicious and Delicious. Keeping the fresh man in the ring at all times.
Here, a draping DDT perhaps, and plant save.
Tried to drive the man's head through the ring.
Not to be facetious, but he dented the mask of Juan. That was intense, man. Just like that bolo uppercut right under the chin of Juan.
Juan's got to find a way to get over to his
if he
partner.
doesn't make a tag, this match is perhaps minutes, if not seconds, away from ending in favor of the champions. Oh, flapjack, shades of the Midnight Express.
Cordova going to roll him back towards the center here and maybe go for a cover. We'll have to see.
You know what they say, artists borrow and geniuses steal. A couple of self-proclaimed geniuses in the form of the tag team champions.
Well, you have to admit that their tactics have been effective, at least for the last several moments in this matchup.
I, as a rule, tend to avoid complimenting either one of these gentlemen except when absolutely necessary, except when they leave me no other choice, maybe facing another moment such as that here. But you can't take anything away from what they've done in this match.
Juan trying to fight his way back into this one, and maybe it's just on instinct at this point. Oh, short knee.
Absolutely crumbles to the mat after the impact of that knee driven into the midsection. Smartly takes things back towards his part of the ring. Brings in the fresh man. Oh, choking away. Come on, referee.
And now we see the quick tags. Do a little bit of damage, and then the quick tag out. Here comes Cordova off the tandem offense with the
they're trying to put him away.
Yeah, it could be over right here.
John D. helpless on the ring apron, could do nothing but watch. Trying to inspire his partner, motivate the fans to do likewise. I'm sure that this venue would light up like Christmas if the Hillbillies were able to recapture the tag team titles.
I think Juan's going to have to make the tag here soon. He's doing awesome right now, at least for the moment, but he's got to be just about out of gas.
Yeah, they might have to wait for Santa Claus to bring that to him if they don't get the job done here quickly. Speaking of a victory or another reign as tag team champions, all the way up top for the superplex.
Good gracious, the whole ring shook.
Nowhere to go but down from the tremendous heights. Juan scaled to pull off that maneuver. And we're back to square one here. The next man that makes a tag or can somehow make body-to-body contact and get a cover is in the driver's seat. There's a tag from LA to Morgan, and finally John D., the big powerhouse, unleashed.
And he's throwing around the tag team champions like a bale of hay.
I would say they typically smell more like a sack of manure, but that's neither here nor there. They're going to end up smelling like money if they can withstand this barrage.
There goes Cordova over the top from the clothesline from John. Let's see if he can set up Morgan.
Big but a slam.
Big body slam. And where's Juan going?
Oh, we've seen this before. This is their coup de grace. This could be. I spoke too soon. LA knew just how close it was to being over definitively. Got there in time to knock Juan off balance.
Oh!
Well, that's going to disappoint Anita, I would imagine.
Definitely splitting the uprights there. I'm not even sure who the legal men are at this point, Aaron.
As long as the referee does. Double backdrop. He's got to get one of them outside. I believe Morgan Taylor is legal for his team.
But I don't know if there was ever a tag between Juan and John.
If there was, it wasn't in their corner. I don't know if the referee acknowledged it or not. Again, back to the double team action suplex.
They've got a 5 count, ref. Get one of them out of there. It's got to be 1-1 for crying out loud. He's been in there for 20 or 30 seconds at this point.
Yeah, the champ's definitely getting a lot more leeway than perhaps a strict reading of the rules would allow.
John D. low bridges L.A. Cordova on one side. Juan whipped Taylor across the ring on the inside.
Oh, avoids the charge. Juan connects head first with the top turnbuckle, looking for the gorgeous driver. But there's Anita trying to beguile and...
Well, I could see where that would be somewhat distracting.
Yeah, her...
feminine wiles, we'll say.
Yeah, her overtures towards the gorgeous one not going unheeded.
Oh, wow. Roll up, we can have new champions right here. And we do. 3 count.
Your winners and the new PWA Tag Team Champions, Ron and John D, those Crazy Hillbillies.
What a matchup. What a way to conclude this episode of PWA on YouTube. We've got new PWA Tag Team Champions, those Crazy Hillbillies. And the celebration is on here in Lancaster.
Some distraught ex-champions, but some jubilant, now 2-time tag team champions in the form of those Crazy Hillbillies. And in the blink of an eye or a slap to the face, however you want to measure it, it was all she wrote for Morgan Taylor and L.A. Cordova. Still not sure what happened.
And Morgan Taylor complaining, I believe, about Anita's interaction, but, I got to say the referee let the rules be very lax in this contest for both teams. So to be truthful, in this instance, the better team, at least on this night, did pick up the victory.
Yeah, I would suggest that Morgan Taylor and L.A. Cordova take their gripes to City Hall if you follow my drift here, because they're not going to get any satisfaction on this night. Well, fans, what a way to finish things up for this broadcast. I'll be back in just a few to put the finishing touches on it. Thank you for joining me, Carrington. Can't wait to come back next time for more great PWA. We got new champions. What a way to end the program, fans. New tag team champions, those Crazy Hillbillies, capturing those belts for the second time. Quite the scene in our main event. Quite an episode overall here. The end of Bryan Blade's career, but the beginning of Kevin Cruit's career. And if you like what you saw, make sure that you come back next time for more of the same, because we're going to be back at the Fairfield County Fairgrounds for another great edition of PWA Wrestling on YouTube. 2 big title matches in that one, the U.S. title and the heavyweight title. And make sure that if you like what you saw, share it with a friend, share it with a family member. Make sure that everybody knows about PWA and why it is the finest source for independent pro wrestling, not just in Central Ohio, not just in the Midwest, but anywhere in North America. PWA is the home of the newest stars, the most dynamic talents, and you don't want to miss a second of it here on YouTube.